Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Football Heaven 24/7. I'm your host, Jamie. Basically, we're just going to do what we always do just run down from the Premier League down to League Two. All the games from the weekend being the 21st and 22nd of January. Going to go straight into the Premier League. So, at the bottom of the table at the start of the day, there's about 6, 7 teams that are close to the relegation zone, only like 2 or 3 points off. Um, my lads, Forest were 5 off at the start of the day. That's now dropped down to 4 points because they only got a draw at Bournemouth. Forest drew 1-1 at Bournemouth. A goal from Jaden Anthony opened the scoring for Bournemouth, but Surridge, one of their old players, equalised for Forest on the 83rd minute, giving Forest a much needed away point, which, as I said, keeps Forest still in 13th where they were before, and 4 points clear the relegation zone. Bournemouth, because of the draw, slipped down a place. West Ham jumped out of the relegation zone because they beat Everton, who remained in the relegation zone in 19th. As a result, Jared Bowen got 2 goals and a 2-0 win for West Ham. Liverpool in the early kick-off in the day, they drew 0-0 with Chelsea. That just kept Chelsea and Liverpool in the mid-table positions. I think they're lying in a... Liverpool are now something like 8th in the league and Chelsea are 10th still. So really poor seasons for Liverpool and Chelsea so far. Can they turn it around in the next 18, get the last 18 games of the season? Doesn't look likely. Most teams have played 19 or 20 games in the Prem now. Liverpool and Chelsea looking pretty shocking, to be honest, by their normal standards. But that's what happened there. Newcastle, they left the door wide open for Manchester United, who were playing away at Arsenal today. They only got a 0-0 draw away at Palace. So Palace have had 2 draws at home in the last sort of 4 days against two of the teams, two of the teams that are up in the top four. So decent results for Patrick Vieira as he tries to turn things around at Palace. Palace still, though, are sitting comfortably in mid-table. They're lying in 12th, literally 3 points clear of Forest. So there's no real danger of probably Palace are getting drawn into the relegation fight. I would say from Forest down to the relegation zone itself, there's potentially those teams could go down. I don't think my team will do. I'm not being biased. I just think that this team's starting to gel now. He's getting results. He's getting results away from home, getting points away from home, but also getting crucial wins at home, which is obviously just as well vital, really, especially if you're a team that wants to avoid relegation. So that's what's going on there. Leicester City, they had sort of like a little bit of a moral victory. Not a moral victory, I suppose like a bit of a thing. They only drew 2-0 with Brighton, but they went a goal behind in that game. Then they went 2-1 up, so they looked like they were going to win it. Much needed win for them to get them further away from the relegation zone. But then Brighton got an equaliser in the 88th minute to make it 2-2 in that game between Leicester and Brighton. So yeah, Leicester, because of that, are only a point off the relegation still. West Ham are only a point off the relegation, even though they won yesterday. Leeds and Wolves stay outside of the relegation zone on goal difference. And that's what's going on. So currently at the moment, Bournemouth, Everton and Southampton line the bottom three. In my mind, Bournemouth and Southampton are going to go down. I still think Everton might be able to nip out of there, but I've got a feeling that it's going to be between Wolves and Everton for that last spot, if I'm honest. I don't think much is going to change. I don't think my team, Forest, is going to get drawn back into it. I'm pretty confident. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Other result that I didn't mention from the weekend, on the Saturday games, it was Aston Villa away at Southampton. They have now won 5 out of the last 6 games under Unai Emery after he took over from Steven Gerrard. They're on a bit of a roll. That keeps Villa lying comfortably in 11th place. They're literally something crazy like 7 points between 11th, where Villa are and where Forest are. So Villa got 28 points and Forest are on 21. So yeah, Villa ain't going to be. They're not going to be any dangers of getting relegated now because of that. Anyway, looking at the games today, so far in the game, it's Manchester City and Wolves on the Sunday game. They're currently 1-0 up at half time through Erling Haaland. and the Leeds United Brentford game is currently 0-0 at half time. They're the 2 o'clock kickoffs. Massive game later on. It's first against fourth, Arsenal against Manchester United. I'm predicting Arsenal to win that one 3-2, so that's the result I've gone with. The other 2 games, I predicted Leeds to go to draw 2-2 with Brentford at home, and Manchester City to win 3-1. I don't think there's going to be 4 goals in the second half in the Leeds game from what I've just been watching the first half of it. But I think that Manchester City could win 3-1 like I predicted. So we'll see what happens anyway. But currently, Haaland is obviously still miles ahead in the goal-scoring charts. He may add some more goals to it, but because of that goal he scored today so far against Wolves at halftime, he's out on 23 goals in the lead. Kane isn't playing until Monday away at Fulham with Spurs, so in the London derby. So we'll have to see what happens. My prediction for Fulham against Tottenham, I think I went for a 2-2 draw in that one, so I'm still going to stick with that and go 2-2. I think Spurs will start to get points together, but I don't think it'll be enough to ultimately get them in the Champions League places, which is where obviously they'll want to be. So anyway, that's what's going on in the Premier League. Going into the Championship, League 1 and League 2, to be fair, there was half the games were nearly called off in League 2, there was only 3 games that were played. In League 1, there was only, I think it was 8 games played, so they were a little bit better. Championship was like a full fixture list apart from Blackpool and Huddersfield. But anyway, I'll run down the results. Birmingham City lost 2-1 at home to Preston. Bristol City drew 1-0 with Blackburn Rovers. Bradley Dack scored another goal on his comeback from injury. He scored a couple now in the last 3 games. Millwall got a vital win for them to keep them in touch with the playoffs. They're just outside the playoffs by, I think it's something like a point or something. No, it's just on goal difference even. So they won 1-0 at Cardiff. Cardiff is just above the relegation zone, but only by 3 points. They're looking for a new manager. They've had a lot of candidates coming in, but in the papers they've been saying for Cardiff that they're looking for a manager whose teams have proven to take a lot of shots in games. So that's what they're going for in that. But yeah, Norwich continue their rivalry under their new manager, David Wagner. They won 4-2 away to Coventry, and in that game there was 5 goals after 20 minutes, so it was absolutely insane. So anyway, I saw QPR Swansea. QPR drew 1-0 with Swansea. Jamal Lowe scored against his former team. He got booed. Ryan Manning, who also used to play for Queen's Park Rangers but was playing for Swansea yesterday, he got booed a lot, but he had the last laugh as they got an equaliser on the 81st minute. So 1-1 draw there for QPR. Stoke City won comfortably at home to Reading, won 4-0. Watford drew 1-0 with Rotherham, so Rotherham continue their little mini revival as they try to pull away from the relegation zone. They're doing quite a good job at the moment. They're 5 points clear, getting a 1-0 draw at Watford yesterday, and they even took the lead in that game as well. And then Luton continue their little good run, keeps them just outside the playoff places, winning 2-0 at bottom of the table Wigan. On the Friday night games, Burnley came from 1-0 behind to West Bromwich Albion, and they won 2-1 in the end. 2 goals in the last 15 minutes of the game. And Sheffield United also kept their second place quite far away from the playoffs, both of them. They look like I said in previous episodes, they look like guarantees to both go up into the Premier League at the end of the season. So, yeah, good wins for all those teams. Anyway, and also today, Sunderland had I don't know if it's I think it's a Wearside derby against Middlesbrough, and they basically drew 2-2 in that game. So, they lost 2-0 to Sunderland even. Sunderland won 2-0, and that moves Sunderland up a couple of places to 9th. So looking at the table for the Championship, it's Burnley at the top still. They've got 62 points. In second, 5 points behind, but with a game in hand. On the same amount of games, it's Sheffield United with 57 points, and they're something like 13 points clear of third place Watford. So there's no danger there. Also behind Watford in the playoffs, you've got Blackburn, Middlesbrough and Norwich City. So that's what's going on. Down the relegation area in the Championship, Blackpool and Huddersfield were the only teams not to play in the Championship at the weekend. Huddersfield are still in the relegation zone with Blackpool, and obviously Wigan are at the bottom, like I said earlier. So that's what's going on in the Championship. Top goal scorer in the Championship is still Chuba Akpom for Middlesbrough with 13 goals. And then going into League One, Barnsley won 3-1 against Accrington. That kept them in the playoffs in 6th place. Derby won 2-1 against Bolton. That kept them in the playoffs as well, lying in 4th place. Bolton are still in 5th behind them, though, so they're doing all right. They're still in the playoff areas. Forest Green lost 2-1 at home to MK Dons. Oxford beat Ipswich Town 2-1. Plymouth won 4-2 at home to Cheltenham. Portsmouth also beat Exeter 2-0. Bristol Rovers and Wycombe was called off. All frozen pitches, all the other ones. Sheffield Wednesday won 1-0 against Fleetwood. That keeps them firmly in second now. They're now something like, they're 7 points clear of Ipswich with the same amount of games played. So, like in the Championship with Burnley and Sheffield United, Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday are pulling away from the chasing pack. And I think Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday, in my mind, will be certain guarantees to go up into the Championship at the end of the League One season as well. So, in that league, there's only another 18 games to play for most of the teams, or 19 games. So, that's what's going on there. There was another game. Shrewsbury Town absolutely smashed Cambridge United 5-1. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Plymouth at the top, Sheffield Wednesday second, Ipswich, Derby, Bolton and Barnsley in the playoffs. Down the bottom end in League One, it's Morecambe, Cambridge United, Burton Albion and Forest Green. So that's what's going on. That's what happened in League One at the weekend. Going into League Two finally. League Two at the top at the start of the day, and it's still top, is Leyton Orient, but they're only top now by 2 points. They were miles in front of Stevenage, who were in second, but Stevenage played them at home yesterday and they won 3-0 convincingly. So that, as I say, keeps them only 2 points away from Leyton Orient in the chase to win the League Two title. So Gillingham continue their improvement after getting their new American owners in. They won 2-0 away at kind of a local rival, Colchester United. Hartlepool continued their fight to get out of the relegation area, which they have done now, thanks to a 2-0 win at home to Rochdale, who are Rochdale are planted firmly at the bottom of the table. And yeah, they're the only games that went on in League Two at the weekend, so that's all that's happened. Still top of the scoring charts in League Two. It's Hoskins for Northampton, and he's got 16 goals. So that's currently what's going on. There's nothing else much to report, as I say. In the half times, the 2 o'clock kickoffs on the Sunday, it's now being 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. It's 1-0 to Man City, as I said, 0-0 to Leeds and Brentford, and also you've got Arsenal and Man United to play later on. So I'll be back tomorrow with another episode, and that will cover all obviously talk about the games today, the final scores from the Premier League games today being Sunday, and it'll also talk about all the fixtures to come and all my score predictions for those fixtures. So thanks to all those people that like and subscribe. I do appreciate it. We'll get the numbers up bit by bit. They have fluctuated. I think I got something like 400 on one of them, but we've even got as low as 2, unfortunately. But we'll just keep going. For me, as I always say to everybody, it's all about basically having a historical record for myself via YouTube. So I enjoy the opportunity to do this, and as I say, I always appreciate everyone's support. Have a great week, whoever you support. I hope they get the results they need. And bye for now. All the best. See you soon.